Yeah.
Right. Press.
So yesterday, I think we have completed till at the before each, at the before all we completed, and so we are discussing before at the before or at the before each. At the before you call that in unit 4, same name. So replace this before with before each in unit 5. So both are same. So based on version, which version you are using, that version. So these annotations you have to use. Public void setup, and you can write the code. You can write the code. So what are the code you want? This method will repeat every test method. Every test, at the rate test annotation, one more is there. So every test method before this, before each will execute. Before each test method, this piece of code will execute. So you want to repeat some code that is common to every test method before. Then place that code inside this before each. So you want to execute every test method before and write that code in the before each annotation method block. So then at the test means if you annotate any method with at the test, that means it's a test case. It's a automation test script. So that's the at the test means. At the test is mandatory for your JUnit or TestNG classes. All other annotations are optional, but at the test is mandatory. So without at the test, you cannot access it. You cannot access that. So that's the at the rate test means. So, and you can have n number of test methods in the same JUnit and TestNG classes. You can write n number of test cases in the same class. So that is what this at the rate test means. And so see, one more at the rate test I can write. So that method name you change. This method name and this method name should be different. So you can write multiple at the rate test annotations, but method name must be different. Method name must be different. So at the rate after, this annotated method will be executed after each test method. So this annotated method will be executed after each test method. So each test method after annotation or after each annotation method will be executed. At the rate test method before, at the rate before method or before each method will execute. So that is the difference between before each and after each. So before each will execute the before your test method execution. After each will execute after test case execution then cursor will come to after each block. So the cycle will rotate on these three annotations. If you have multiple annotations in the same class, so first before class will execute, or before all will execute, then before each, and then test method after. Even though if you have one more test, you will jump to after each. Again, before executing a second test method, first before each will execute, then second test method will execute, then after each will execute, then after each will execute. So that is the before each, test, after each. Again, one more test is there. First cursor again goes back to before each block, executes the code, then it comes to test block. Then after each block, code will execute. So that's the order of execution: before each, test, after each. So then last, after class will execute. So no more test methods in the class. So finally, after class or after all, that means after all test cases are done. That's the meaning. Before all means before executing any test case, first before all will execute. Then before each, okay, your test method before each will execute. Then test method, then after each method. Then one more test is there, again cursor will go to before each, then test method 2, then after each, then after all, finally it will execute. So after all is, so finally after all will execute. So this is the order of execution. @ignore now, so you want to ignore particular test case, you don't want to execute currently. So now ignore is renamed in the JUnit5 so you can use this annotation @disabled. So ignore is a JUnit4 and disabled is JUnit5. So you have to write @disabled here, so that this test case will skip automatically. If you write just @disabled on top of the annotation, @test annotation, that test case will skip. That means it won't consider for execution. So that's the @disabled. How can you skip in JUnit your test case execution is just putting @disabled on the test case above, and it will skip the test cases. So the order of execution is @before all, @before each, @test, @after each. Again, one more test method is there. First cursor will go to before each, then second test, and after each, then after all. So this is the order of execution. Say finally after all. So initially before all. So the features of JUnit is, it's an open source framework which is used for writing and running the automation test cases. It provides annotation to identify your test methods, that is @test. How can you tell this is a test case is @test is there? It's a, so you can recognize that a test case. Okay, you can recognize that a test case. And so it provides the assertions to compare your expected and actual values. And also it provides a test runner for running test case inbuilt, right? Generally Java has a main method to execute, but JUnit and test engine its own runner, test runner. So that's why it is going to execute the order. It will, as we discussed just now, that order will be maintained. So JUnit tests allow you to write code faster, so which increase the quality. So basically it's very, very faster. You don't need to repeatable, a duplicate code. So, and also it's very simple, less complex, and takes very less time, because so once you create a JUnit class, automatically entire structure you will get with annotations. Whatever the annotations you choose, that annotations automatically it will place there. JUnit tests can be run automatically. They check their own results and provide immediate feedback. So you can get the report here. So how many test cases passed, failed, errored, all this, report you will get. And also logs you can see in the console very clearly. So that is the another advantage. So let's see what are the JUnit 5 assertions. So you have to import org.junit.jupyter.api. In this API, you have a assertions class. So this assertions class is having all static methods. Assert array equals. We are going to use assert equals, assert true, assert false, and these are the main methods we are going to use. And assert equals means you have to give two parameters. One is actual value and expected value. Both will be compared. Actual value is going to come from web page, and expected value is your your business analyst or you will prepare the test data. The output. That output is your expected value. What you are expecting, that, and the actual value is they are going to give that. So that's the assertions. And let's get start with so programs on this. I'll take a simple example. So this is the one I'm going to take up, and I'm going to use form authentication. So this is the one I'm going to use. And see here, if you give correct username password, it will log in. If you give invalid username password, so it will throw errors. See, if I give blank, so it will see you will get an error like this. This is the error message. So you need to test all these combinations. See, if I give you only username and I'm giving a wrong password, so it will say your password is invalid. So if you give correct user and passwords, it will log in. Okay. So Tom Smith and correct user, it will log in. So this is you will get a login screen. So you'll get a login screen. So this is the secure area, and you have to verify this. And welcome to the secure area. When you are done, click logout button below. So when you click logout, it will log out from this page. So you logged out of the secure area. So these are all you need to write test cases. So valid test case, invalid username password, and both leaving empty. So all this you have to write. So before coming to this page, so let's write, see my launching this URL and going to the clicking on form authentication. So that's I'm going to keep in my one-time effort, this one. So I'm going to keep in before all. So that's the entire code I'm going to write now. Let's see. So I'll create a new package, JUnit programs. Then create a JUnit class. How to create a JUnit class? So right click on the package, new JUnit test case. You can see here. If you don't find here, go to other and you can search there. So there is a JUnit option there. JUnit folder inside you can find JUnit. Next, and see here, see JUnit 3, JUnit 4 and JUnit 5. So that's the so new Jupyter JUnit, and you can give Heroku app login test. So Heroku app login test. And then I'm taking a before all, after all, before each, after each. All four annotations I'm taking, and I'm going to finish it. So add a Junit file library to your build path so that you can use all the Junit features. See, Junit 5 library will add here. See here in your project, it is added. So all the annotation structure, you got it by default. So now I want to use my driver variable in all the methods. If I want to use in all the methods, I need to declare that as a global static variable. Why? Some methods are static and some methods are non-static. So both methods you can use static and non-static methods. Only one variable, that is static variable. So I have to declare my WebDriver variable as a static. So let's declare that. Private static. So WebDriver driver equal to null. So if you declare a null means, so this driver variable doesn't have any value. So later you can assign the value if you want. So that's the meaning of a null if you declare any variable. So WebDriver weight also I am declaring as a global variable. So that's the two variables you will use in all the methods. That's why we declared globally, okay? So that you can use it. Okay. So in the before all, just add browser code, all the browser code. So you add what is the browser code we want. So broken links, right? So this is our regular code. So we have this, and you can add that code. So this is the common code. So right, I'll give this URL. So just this URL you can give. So find out the welcome to the internet or this title. So I'll just get the title. So title, here is the title. Basically the title will be same for all the pages. Now, so you need to click on, or you can so wait for this H1. So this H1, if you want to get this and assert it, so I can assert that if you want. So header text equal to driver dot find element y dot CSS selector dot so dot value. Sorry, that's not the value heading. So h1 dot tag name dot class value dot get text dot get text. So then I want to assert it. So let's assert that. So assertions is the class name. Assert equals. Assert equals. So this is the actual value. So this is the actual value, and expected is I'm going to give this expected value. So this is my expectation. So while fetching, what is the value? And I'm expecting this value. So both are same or not, it will compare this assert equals method. Now I'll click on the form authentication link. Click on. So form authentication link, it's a link. So I can use, click on form authentication link. So driver dot find element y dot link text. So just give the link name. Dot click. Okay. So you can give that dot click. Next. Once this is done, now so it will go to next page, right? When you click on this, it will go to next page. So you can wait for this URL, or you can header. So you can do that. But I'll do that. So that's what I'm going to keep. Other than that, I'm not going to keep in the before class. This is just a so one time execution will happen this. Then I'll close the browser. So if so driver is not null. So driver dot quit. That's it. So before each, so I'll just keep in the before each. Every time I have to validate this. So how can you get the address bar URL? Wait dot driver wait. You should not put again local variable. This will become local because you already declared here globally. Again, left side you should not put the data type. Then it will become local to this method only. So we should not put that. Wait dot until expected conditions dot. So URL contains. URL contains, you can give the URL. So whatever the URL you have, so I can just give this partial URL. So that's the URL contains means. So same way, you can get the header and assert it. So what is this header? Login page header. H2. So I can write from here to here. So div ID, div H2. So build the CSS selector. So hash content greater than div greater than H2. So if you want to know that, Control F, you can write hash content greater than div greater than H2. See, that's the how you can frame it. You can use this to get that login page header. Login page header text. So what I'm expecting. So this is the text. Done. So that's the before each. Every time I need to validate this page because I will go to next page also, right? That's why. Now that is done. So after each, I'll just clear the caches or something. Clear the caches. So how to clear the caches, you know already. Driver dot. So manage method dot. Delete all. Okay. So my first test method is test valid credentials. Test valid credentials. So what I need to give? So I can write sysout executing the test valid credentials method. So now first I need to enter here the username password. See input type name ID is there. I'll take ID and I'll see how I'm going to make it out. So web element username edit box equal to driver dot find element by dot ID. So ID value. So web element. So this one. And then first clear the tent in the username edit box. So how to clear the value in the edit boxes? How to clear the content in the edit boxes?
Send keys keys dot
the statement itself, you have the method name. In the statement itself,
method.
the method name.
Clear Clear method.
Clear method, right? Why are you struggling? That means you are not reading. It's very, very clear. Then type send case. It's not a hard methods. I don't know why you're struggling for that. So take username and then same way you repeat for the password. So the password edit box. So I'll take name. Okay, I want to change. So this one. So I want to use all the locators. See, that's the one. One minute, guys. Yeah, maybe you can join back.